All right, welcome back once again to HeroQuest fans. This is Kurgan. We're looking at the HeroQuest fans Discord, and Sir Death, of course, beat me to this. He did an extremely scientific testing of stability with versus without the betrayal piece of the base. I feel it is definitely more stable, he says, but can still fall over. This is the Mythic Dragon, so it's possible the base is a little warped compared to what the retail version will be. So I'm just blatantly stealing his content. Check out Sir Death Vids on YouTube. So credit where credit is due for this. That's the first one. And then Ribby's response. Bourbon and board games. Check him out on YouTube. Useless. Needs extra wide base. Kid tested. Zargon approved. And so here's another video from Sir Death. Yeah, a slightly larger base would have helped. I can confirm that my dragon's base is warped, so it's definitely playing a role here. So what he's referring to is you've got these HeroQuest figures, these bendy plastics. An old trick that miniature painters often use is, you take the little guy out of the package and his sword is like, bent in half. If it's plastic, what you can do is you can get boiling water and you can just gently like dunk the figure in the boiling water or really, really hot water. Gently straighten it out without burning yourself. Then dip it in some cold water and it will solidify. And then as long as you store it that way, hey, it's much better. So with these, some of the bases on some of these Mythic HeroQuest figures were just really bent up, and that's because they were stored in what we call the candy trays. I mean, it looks like a box of candy. The plastic miniatures are like in these vacuum form plastics, and you got to like really put some effort to like pull them out. So in the factory, they come hot off the press, they go in there and they get all bent, and then they're held that way for who knows how long until you finally pick them up. So I dunked mine in the boiling water, pressed it up against like a metal sink, like to flatten it out with cold water, just like pouring down on it, and dried it off, and it was much better. Still a little unsteady though. So here's his other video. All right, and now let's do our own ultra scientific test. Heavy sarcasm there. Okay, so this is the mythic version of Joe Manganiello's Crypt of Perpetual Darkness Venom Black Dragon. Of course, you can see it's gray. And these cameras don't have autofocus, but they're still awesome. So there you go. So that's the figure. And as you can see, it's got a tiny base, which is a standard size, like for any of these other heroes. It's supposed to be a one inch circle. So as you can see, it's just like this is a card table. Other stuff is falling over. Of course, it never does it when you want to. But as you can see, it's kind of top heavy. So that's what happens. This is why you don't want to buy a 3D printed resin version, because when this falls over, all these little spiky bits are gonna like break off because resin, 3D printed resin, is very brittle, unfortunately. Anyway, as we know from the new release, the new video that was posted on Instagram, Facebook, a few other places, I think by now, Doug Hopkins did the unboxing. Of course, Tess Hogan was there, Patrick O'Rourke was there, but Doug did the unboxing for the re-release of Joe Manganiello's Crypt of Perpetual Darkness. You got to say the whole title because that's the official title now. His name is on there. That expansion box is coming out July 15th, or I mean, Amazon is telling me August 5th is when it actually ships. Pre-orders are up now. I don't pre-order stuff. I don't pre-order stuff anymore anyway. Been burned too many times. So, but if that's what you want to do, you can certainly do it. It's not a limited release, so you shouldn't have to worry about it selling out and you never get it. It's nice that the scalpers won't get to charge people through the roof for this anymore. But it'll be just like this, except it'll be more shiny silver. I'm guessing closer to the First Light Dragon, or maybe like some of these figures that they've released for the some of the other expansions where they've It's like they mixed a little bit of silver powder into the plastic to kind of give it a more of a shine. But I was hoping for black metallic, like it was going to look like a bronze statue or something. But we'll see. I don't know. Anyway, if you own a copy of another Avalon Hill game called Betrayal at House on the Hill, third edition, or any of the expansions they've released for third edition, it comes with these. I I call these rims because Ribby makes the remarkable rims, but these are like bendy bases or boots because in that game they give you four plastic sculpted miniatures for your characters, but they're all just gray. They're unpainted. And so they give you these to differentiate the players at a glance. So you got a green, a purple, yellow, red, I think are the colors. And in the expansions, maybe there's a werewolf that has like white and gray. But this new Joe Manganiello pack has one of these in the box and it's gray. And I want to say 2 years ago, I was like, hey, wait a minute, you could just use these. Because what we were hoping for is, you'd have maybe a bunch of mercenaries that you hired for a hero, and you'd have like one of these, like they'd all be green, and let's say that the elf is green, so he would have one of these, and then all of his mercenaries would have that. It'd be a nice visual to say who's got what, because otherwise you're like, wait a minute, I had a crossbowman and a scout and something else. I don't quite remember. It's hard to keep track, and you can't just say, well, I'll paint them because every game, then it's like, oh, I have to have the guys that all have green on them. And what if you pick another hero? It's a lot of painting. So it's just a nice visual. So I was always thinking, well, this would be great for mercenaries. And so Ribby was kind enough to send me these 3D printed rims that he made out of a nice bendy material, and they're awesome. They work really well. So let's do the test. So we've got the dragon. Let's use Ribby's remarkable rim. Snap that on there. It's 3D printed. And let's see, is it any? I mean, it's still pretty good because when I flatten it out, and this is a card table, so it's vinyl. It's got a little bit of give to it, particle board, so might not be the best test. But if you got like a wooden table, okay, finally. I mean, so it adds a little bit of stability. This, which is what Avalon Hill is giving you, is a little bigger. It's a little bulkier. I don't know how much cost this adds to a set. What Doug was saying in the video is, well, a lot of players want to designate a special monster. You've got like one orc in the room who's the boss orc, and so he'll have like this gray thing on it. But I'd rather have a bunch of them so you could do the mercenaries. So um, maybe when Wizards of Morcar gets released, because we know it's getting released, just a question of when, they could include a bunch of those in the box of like I'm imagining you have four colors and then four of each. So that way you could have 16 mercenaries color coded by hero. Okay, so I mean it adds a little bit more stability, I'd say. Okay, so whereas without it, yeah, it's very insignificant the amount of difference. So I don't think it's for stability. I think it's just for they're testing out a fan reaction and they're experimenting with things. And yeah, you could use this to say, okay, this is the boss or whatever. You could paint this, I guess, but it wouldn't hold the paint very well because it's so flexible. But this is the solution that I think they should have gone with. This is Ribby's creation. This is 3D printed, and this is out of rigid PLA, I believe. So he just made a little, it's hard, and you clip it together like that. So this is actually what we used in our game. So you could see the base. It kind of just like rests in there. You just clip it on, and it stays. And ta-da! And you could paint it. You could put like little skulls on there if you wanted. If the heroes are surrounding and attacking it, still works, even though it takes up. But this basically transforms it into a 4 square monster if you wanted to. See, because it's around. So I wish they would have done this. This would have been great. I mean, you could print these for like pennies, but of course, if they released it as a 3D print, well, first of all, they're stealing Ruby's design. Second of all, I mean, it would feel cheap. I mean, I guess these pegs could break off maybe. If you created this and made it out of this material, that could be interesting, you know. So anyway, but yeah, just a little comment. So yeah, initially I was looking at Crypt of Perpetual Darkness, Joe Manganiello's, and I thought, gee, there's not much in the box, but I totally forgot about this item. So it's going to look just like this, except it's going to be a gray color, and I guess that blends well with the figure versus if it were some other color. But it's so boring. I mean, modern players, we see gray and we think unpainted, you know. We think unpainted. So you see this and you're like, either that's a gray monster or someone forgot to paint it. Forgot to paint it. You know, it's fresh out of the box. Whereas you see this, I mean, yeah, it's unpainted, but at least it's brown. Okay, it makes you think wood. You know, you see this, you think, oh, it's a green monster. He's wearing green, whatever. You know, it's a bone color. It's an undead monster. So color makes a big deal. But yeah, there's definitely nostalgia. So yeah, gray is just kind of what it is. Still, it's a nice idea, and I think they're fishing for feedback because you're going to get people commenting like, "Hey, can we have some more of these? This is a good idea." And I don't know how much these cost to make. Maybe more than this, but probably not much more. So, all right, that's it. And definitely Ash Quest. So Amalgam Ash has put out a video. I think the other guys, let's see, Sir Death, Always Bored, Never Boring, did a video. So everybody's doing a video on Crypt of Perpetual Darkness. I do more, but again, as you can tell, I'm not back 100%. So we're taking this weekend off, but I hope everybody has a good one, enjoys the news, and we'll see what happens at Gen Con. Back to painting. Okay, so let's make this a more realistic test. Now, this is my board. It's folded up just because I don't have the table space right now. But so we got the mythic tile where you'd be fighting the dragon. We got the dragon. Let's put him there. Let's put him here. Okay. Let's just pretend there's a battle going on. Okay. So, you know, you're going for your pieces. Yeah, I gotta move him over there. Gotta move the illegal move. You know, da 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 da. You're going, oh, let's get that guy. Oh, that's what's gonna happen. Or, you know, you're in the midst of the battle and you got your skull tile, so it's like, oh, he took 1 damage. Okay, this is what always happens. You got that. Oh, shoot. Okay, he took 2 damage. All right, he took 3 damage. 4 damage. Don't shake the table, kids. Okay, 3, 4. Yeah, he only has 5 body points. Unless Joe changed it. But yeah, so now you got this, and then you're trying to like move him around on the board. See, I'm pretty skillful, but you know, you set him down wrong and he's going to fall over. Now, if you've got the Remarkable Rim on top, or if you've got the Betrayal Rim, the official rim, let's see. Sometimes you got to work it on there. Okay, so does that make it any better? Maybe a little bit. Shake the table a little bit. It's quite a bit of give. Quite a bit of give. Okay, so that does help a little bit when it's stacked on top. I wonder if they tested that because there's no tiles that go under figures in Betrayal. I mean, it's just the room tiles. I mean, some people do this. They put the skull tile next to the monster, but then you know you're taking up room that you need for other stuff. It becomes more like maybe some other type of game where squares aren't that important. So let's try Ribby's 3D printed 2-part Rim, which he was cool enough to send me. Definitely check out Bourbon Board Games. Here, putting the tiles underneath doesn't quite make as much sense. I mean, you could do it, but you're not going to like balance it like that because you can't even see it. What's the point? You have the same problem with the new Frozen Horror figure because it's huge and it's got a non-standard base. But you could do this. You could just say, oh yeah, he's taking damage, and then he's defeated. But let's see. I'm shaking the table. You know, it's pretty hard to knock him over. You have to really try. Yeah. So this would have been the best solution, I think. Something like this. But it does affect the gameplay because now all of a sudden instead of a one square monster, you're dealing with a four square. So Hero Quest has had multi-square monsters for a while, but only in the North American releases. So Stephen Baker never really considered it in his version of the rules. 1992, Made to the Mirror, Frozen Horror, you suddenly started getting two base monsters. You got the not the ogres at the time, but you got the giant wolves. You had the Frozen Horror himself, and then Avalon Hill just kind of threw caution to the wind and just gave us a four square monster. Which Space Crusade has the Dreadnought, which takes up four squares. But I mean, who remembers Space Crusade except awesome people like us, right? Outside of the UK. But anyway, yeah, I think this is a slight improvement. This is a cool idea, but it doesn't go far enough. I would have liked something specifically for the dragons, something more like this. So thanks for watching.